Holy Week feels a little like an airplane coming in for landing, doesn't it? The last 3 years have rushed by, miracles, amazing teachings, the raising of Lazarus, the triumphant entry into Jerusalem on Sunday, where if you were in a blimp overhead, you would see what was really happening. Herod and Pilate, with their great retinues, the power of earth coming in one side of Jerusalem, and on the other side of Jerusalem, Jesus on a little colt coming in to challenge them. The fight of the ages. But tonight, under the cloak of darkness, Jesus is betrayed. The mock trials begin. Please fasten your seatbelts and return your trays to the upright and locked position. People have a lot of things on their minds when they reach the end of their lives and begin to descend for that landing. But Jesus had only one thing on his mind tonight. I give you a new commandment, that you love one another just as I have loved you. You also should love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another. So, just what is so new about this commandment? They were commanded to love in Hebrew scriptures. In Leviticus, it says, you shall not take vengeance or bear a grudge against any of your people, but you shall love your neighbor as yourself. I am the Lord. What is new is Christ. What is new is his death and resurrection. The command is not the old command that the law accuses you if you don't keep it perfectly. It is the new command that enables and empowers you and me to live and love as Christ loved us. Sadly, people often know Christians now by how much they speak out against and persecute those who are different, the stranger, the other. It seems at times folks can only bring themselves to love those who agree with them. Jesus knew we need an example of what that kind of love for others would look like. So he knelt down and did the kind of job that usually only slaves did. He washed the disciples' feet. Jesus washed everyone's feet, not just the ones who deserved it. He washed Judas's feet. Jesus washed Peter's feet, the guy who would shortly deny him 3 times. Jesus knew him. He washed the feet of all those disciples who would desert him that night. Not everyone is clean. Not everyone deserves it. But everyone is still invited to the table. Everyone is fed. Everyone has their feet washed. Jesus never made some of the distinctions between people many so-called Christians are so proud to make. I don't know which part of my body is ugliest, my knees or my feet. I wear 7.5, 5, or 6E. I have these little square Barbie feet. And feet just aren't one of the more attractive parts of our bodies. Feet point to the kind of intimacy that Jesus is asking for from us. And often we don't want Jesus to get that close to us. Maybe after a pedicure and the nails are done and you get new socks and shoes, get our lives together first. But Jesus says, don't worry about all that. You don't have to have your feet or your lives together. He asks us to surrender tonight. He invites us to come just as we are. Peter was horrified that Jesus would want to stoop and wash his feet, but Jesus told him, you do not know what I am doing now, but later you will understand. We may not understand what Jesus is doing in our lives now, but if we surrender, if we make ourselves vulnerable before God, we'll see later. Alan Paton, in his 1981 book, Ah, But Your Land is Beautiful, wrote about life under white apartheid rule in South Africa. He said, it was Maundy Thursday at the Holy Church of Zion, a black congregation where the ritual of foot washing precedes Holy Communion. The black pastors invited a prominent white judge, Judge Oliver, known to be a God-fearing man, to take part in the service. As a gesture of Christian hope and reconciliation, he was invited to wash the feet of a woman named Martha Fortuin, the black woman who had long cared for the judge's children. The church was crowded that night, and the judge, as he knelt to wash the elderly woman's black feet, thought of the countless times that she had washed and tickled and kissed the tiny feet of his children as she bathed them and cared for them. Overwhelmed by the thought of the love she had given to his children through all the years, he bent, and as he dried them, to kiss her feet, just as she had done to his family in his home. Tears filled the eyes of the other worshipers in the tiny church, and a murmur of approval ran through the crowd. In the days that followed, the story leaked out, and the chief judgeship for which the Judge Oliver had been in line was swiftly conferred on someone else by the racist regime. The pastor of the church was devastated and went by night to the area of town where the judge lived. When he was admitted to his study, he began to express his deep distress, saying, "If I had known what would be the result for you, I would have never asked you to come to my church." The judge smiled at him and said, "Taking part in your service of Maundy Thursday is more important than any chief judgeship. Think no more of it." The pastor returned to his congregation and reported the conversation to them. They decided to honor that act, and that is why the people of the Holy Church of Zion renamed their church. From that day to this, their church is now called the Church of the Washing of Feet. How wonderful if someday we could be known as St. Paul's Episcopal Church of the Washing of Feet. Amen.